Hello and welcome to the Action List Manager tutorial video. I'm Adam, your guide through the innovative realm of AI-driven interactions between humans and augmented reality characters, all made possible by Voxta. Let's explore what this tutorial has to offer. Story building essentials. Every captivating script starts with well-designed characters, immersive settings, and a gripping story. My plugin focuses on this last component. It makes sure that all the actions that your AI character will perform throughout the experience are well defined. It tells the AI when they should happen, it gives back the context of the action, and defines a trigger that performs designated tasks. Getting ready. Let's ensure that your setup is complete and that you have everything up and running. Let's load the model in Uber. I recommend choosing this particular one, link in the description. I've tested a few and this one seems to be the best one regarding the chat part and the action inference part. Next, let's make sure that the model is actually working correctly. If you are using a different text generation method like RunPod, OpenAI, etc., consult Voxta documentation on how to set it all up. Next, let's fire up Voxta GUI app, which by the way launches the server underneath. I've prepared a character that you can use for your scene setup. It will be shared on the hub in my plugins page. It's particularly good for this role as it should always obey your orders. Not so nice in real life, but quite useful here. Now I'll show you how to import it. Let's test our character by creating a new chat and striking a fascinating conversation. Hello, Alita. How do you like today's weather?
Today's weather is quite pleasant, Master. It's sunny outside with a light breeze blowing through my circuits. I am enjoying it very much. How about yourself, Master?
Not so compelling, right? Our character is missing a body and an ability to express itself. So, let's take it up a notch and fire up VAM. This is Alita, an AI-based character. Her only purpose is to do whatever is requested of her. She'll do nicely for our action inference setup and testing. I've created this scene for demo purposes, but a similar one I'll share on the hub. I use it to tweak the action inference so that the character behaves as it should. But what is action inference actually? Well, it's a process where AI, LLM using the instructions given to it, decides which action it should take next. An action can be anything from firing up a timeline animation, changing a pose, loading a synergy template, changing wardrobe, etc. All the things that you can set in a trigger and a bit more, which I'll tell in a second. That's how Action List Manager looks like when opening it up with an existing script. On the left you have an action definition that says when it should be executed and what should happen afterwards. The action name is important, but I'll get to that in the last part of the tutorial. On the right you have connections between the actions, sort of like the routing plan in a branching tree form. What it all means is that when the last action executed was sit, then the next ones can be talk, cross your legs, stand up, etc. In order to add a link between the actions, you simply click on it, and it's moved to the upper list. If you want to add the whole group of actions, just click on its header. Removing action works the same way. If you want to execute the action manually, you either double-click on it here or select it from the chooser and click Test Execute Action. Those buttons let you switch the chooser to this particular action so that you can tweak its parameters and plus-minus signs on the group. Simply fold and unfold it. Now, as it comes to the parameters themselves, context fields can help the AI to understand what's happening in the scene, as it does not have any other senses than the ability to communicate by text. This is the template for the context. You can update the context string using the fields here. Remember that if the value is not set, the context information won't be updated for this particular variable, so you don't have to repeat yourself in multiple actions. The most important part of the successful inference is a good action name and a clear and simple when condition. Smaller LLMs, like the ones that we've just loaded, are very skilled at chatting, but lack some fidelity in the action inference, so we need to help them as much as we can to choose the correct action. I recommend using actions instead of facts. Avoid mixing positions and actions. Avoid having multiple actions with the same prefix, as LLM may think that it's not important which one it would choose. Use simple sentences and avoid complex grammar. Generally test and experiment. This demo scene can be a very good tool for doing just that. Good practice to have a much higher success rate is actually talking to a smarter LLM and asking it for advice. I'm using GPT-4 in this example. I inform them that I have a simpler 13B params model and that I want to tweak the action name and the when condition. The template prompt is taken from the playground in Voxta. I'll now show you how to get it and how to experiment with your conditions to have a better success rate. When you are in a chat with your character and you stumble upon a situation where the character does not want to do what you intend, open up the inspector in Voxta. Here you can open diagnostics to see which prompt leads up to the action that you're not happy about. Now in the playground we can see if the action and when condition that was suggested by GPT-4 works better. When you've verified that the new action parameters work in the playground, you can then roll back your last message, correct the params in Action List Manager, and continue your interaction.
Entering command mode. Back online.
There's also a button for resetting the whole chat if you want to start over. There's one more thing. This small toggle that I've added in my last plugin update. It looks unimportant, but it's pretty powerful. It gives you the ability to unlink the action name from the function name. An action name is what you see here in the chooser. It's an information for you about which action you are editing. The function name, on the other hand, is a name that you give to the AI in the prompt, so that it can choose it as the next action during the action inference or routing process. You've seen these names when we were talking about the GPT-4 as a helper. If you disable this toggle, you can now separately control action and function names. This means that you can have multiple actions with the same function name, and unless they're used on the same route, it's all fine. This way you can have turnaround as an action while standing in the middle of the room and another turnaround when leaning against the wall like so. Only the human readable name has to be different and that they cannot go to the same router. Note that the action name and function name are automatically transformed from and to the humanly readable form as I click the toggle. This concludes the Action Manager List tutorial. I have many plans for the future releases. I also encourage you to chat with me if you have ideas for the functionalities that you'd like to see in my plugin. Thank you for using Action List Manager, and have a great farming experience with it.